Welcome to the Fantasy Champions Fantasy Football Podcast. Here's your host, Morgan Colby and Rick Lemon.
I feel like I should bring it back to 2019. Welcome to the Fantasy Champions Fantasy Football Podcast.
You probably should give out a warning before you
Scream into the microphone.
Yeah.
I really did, though. That you should have known that was what I was about to do.
I mean, I
hated when I introed like that.
You said 2019.
That was so
what?
lame. Such a lame way to intro. Screaming welcome really loudly. Welcome.
You say when you say it like that. Hello, welcome to the Fantasy Football Podcast.
Yeah. It's Thursday, January 30th, 2020. My name is Morgan Colby. I got Rick Lemon right with me. You know what? I was going to do an icebreaker question.
Yeah.
But forget the icebreaker question.
Let's forget it.
Screw it. We're going to give our predictions for the Super Bowl.
Okay, let's just do it.
Before we jump into our predictions, we're going to continue our series on consistent wide receivers, by the way. And then we'll do our... well, actually, we're going to do the predictions first and then the wide receiver part.
Okay.
So we're not confused. Before we get into that, be sure to check out our website at thefantasychampions.com. I believe we have a brand new article.
Oh, look at that.
By Mr. Adam Hutchison. He's planning a wedding right now.
Oh, man.
So
congratulations.
He had a little bit of a small window to take off instead of writing our content. So congratulations to Adam on getting engaged, by the way. I didn't bring that up like 4 months ago when he did. But anyway, he has an article for you recapping the 2019 season. Very creative article. I've read certain pieces of it. So check it out. It's awesome. Follow us on Twitter at the FF Champs, Instagram at the Fantasy Champions, like us at Facebook at facebook.com/the Fantasy Champions. Subscribe wherever you listen, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube. Click the bell on YouTube for notifications. Leave a review on this podcast with your friends.
Holy cow.
So
you speak faster and faster.
Let's do this. Let's do this because I don't want to do it. I don't want to. For the first time in the last 3 years, the New England Patriots are not in the Super Bowl, and it hasn't been easy for me to pick a team to win. I pick the Patriots every time, obviously. Easy because I'm a Pats fan. Bias because I'm a Pats fan.
Okay.
That's funny. I hate all Patriots players for fantasy. Like, I hate them.
I do.
Except for
I
Julian.
pretty much do too. Yeah. Except for Julian.
Yeah.
But even Julian, if he's drafted really high, I'm not.
But in like real life, they're great.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, most people won't agree with that. So I don't know. Wait, do you want to start or
Super Bowl predictions? Yeah. I'll start.
All right.
Are we giving out a score or just a team?
And a score if you want. I
can't think of a score. I might give out a score, but here's my pick.
Okay.
It is the San Francisco 49ers.
Okay.
I think historically speaking,
all right.
If you have a good defense versus a good offense, the defense typically wins.
Yeah.
I think the 49ers are a more complete football team.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they're the most balanced team in the league. Like I kept saying like the Titans are, but that was more of a joke. They were in the AFC, but I think overall in the whole NFL, what team can run the ball? What team has a great defense? If they need to throw it, Garoppolo can throw it. They've got a good young head coach. Typically we'll see these like young emerging teams. Mm-hmm. They'll have like one great year, win a Super Bowl. The Seahawks. Teams that probably would have done it were like the Rams, but they ran into juggernauts like the Patriots. Carolina was a great team that got to the Super Bowl. They lost to Peyton Manning, but like if they don't run into like an all-time great team or a great player like a Brady or Manning or like a great head coach or something like that, typically the team that gets hot that 1 year, it's like a their year type of thing, like Philly. I think it's that team is San Francisco. You're kind of looking like you're undecided, but
I'm very undecided.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick San Francisco. I think it'll be a close game.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm gonna pick San Francisco. And this is coming from a Mahomes guy, big Mahomes guy.
This is the worst week of my life.
Didn't you just tell me?
Also the greatest week of my life because Jimmy Garoppolo's in the Super Bowl. But it also means that if I watch a 60-minute football game,
I know where this is going.
and Patrick Mahomes wins the Super Bowl, I'm going to be very depressed. Like I will honestly probably not. I won't go on social media for a week. I'll wear black every single day.
And then there's gonna be me, the other side of the spectrum, like, let's go.
You'll order 3 different Mahomes jerseys.
Be dancing. I mean, I would be sad because Garoppolo lost. So not only if the Chiefs win, not only does Mahomes get a ring and win, Garoppolo's gonna lose.
You know what's even worse? I don't even care. Like
your favorite player would lose to your least favorite player.
It sucks. It blows. Not only would I be upset about Mahomes, but I've never wanted to watch Travis Kelce celebrate a Super Bowl, like ever.
Yeah.
I don't want to see that man celebrate anything. He doesn't deserve anything in his life. He's just a giant tool bag that's really tall and pretends to be Gronk. Even spikes like Gronk. His touchdown celebration is spiking.
There goes our chances of getting Travis Kelce on the show one day.
Oh man, yeah. I know. I don't want him on this show. Stay away. I can't stand Travis Kelce. Okay, now I gotta make a prediction.
Yeah, make a prediction.
So
I think there's no wrong answer here.
Traditionally,
both teams have a very good chance of winning.
Traditionally, I usually go 2 things. Defense wins championships.
Okay.
And experience wins titles.
Okay.
Neither team has experience. So that one gets tossed in the garbage. Usually you have
do you count
if the Saints made the Super Bowl,
yeah.
They played I don't even remember who played in the NFC Championship, to be honest with you.
It was Packers. The
Packers. Yeah, so if Rodgers or Breeze made it to the Super Bowl, you could say, all right, Experience.
Well, so is it, when you say experience, do you mean Super Bowl experience or playoff
Super Bowl
experience? Okay.
I told you last week after the AFC Championship game, I said,
because there are players on both sides.
The Super Bowl is a freaking weird animal. It is not a normal football game. We know that. It's the Super Bowl. It's the championship of the NFL.
Though, yeah.
But when I say it's not a normal football game, things in this game happen that are just out of the ordinary.
Right.
Anybody can win it. Anything can happen. I think it's the epitome of all sports championships because everything has to happen in one football game or in one game.
Yeah.
Like World Series are decided in game 7s. Like all like not even World Series, like
NBA,
all NBA,
NHL.
hockey, like every single.
Yeah.
The only thing that, and it's like in the other side of the world, I guess it can rival it is like soccer championships, but like people around here don't watch that.
Right.
So like we watch 7-game series, but how many people watch a 7-game series? Nobody. Like they watch the last 3 games most of the time. Like if you're not super interested in it, you just watch the last 3 games.
If you're a casual,
if you're a super fan of like if the Celtics were in the NBA Finals, I'd be all over it. But anyway. The Super Bowl is just one of those games where you work your entire way to get there, and then there's this 2-week lead up, and there's media day, and there's all this stuff going on through Super Bowl week, and it's a weird.
It is a different animal. Yeah.
It's a different animal, and it's like who responds well to that? Can Andy Reid keep his team focused on the goal?
I don't know.
Can Kyle Shanahan keep his team focused on the goal?
Both guys have. I mean, Shanahan was an offensive coordinator. Andy Reid was a head coach.
This is what I'm dealing with right now.
Both those guys lost.
Jimmy Garoppolo dated a porn star.
Yeah,
so could he go to Miami and just get completely zonked and like not pay attention?
Probably.
All week?
But he's been to the Super Bowl twice. He's watched what Brady's done.
True. There's the experience for you.
You know, I think he understands it.
He hasn't been on a podium. He's going to be on a podium,
right? And that is a completely different
on media
beast.
Night.
But as in like preparation and like. Being like, okay, I'm not going to party this week. I'm going to focus on the game. I think he'll understand that.
So I'm going to ask you this question.
I don't know if Mahomes is going to get that.
I don't know if
Tyreek Hill's going to get that.
I'm making my decision as we talk. I want to get your opinion on this.
Okay.
If you had to choose a more prepared quarterback for this particular game, who do you think it would be?
Garoppolo.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was actually going to say Mahomes.
No, I mean, I don't think Mahomes is going to.
I just mean in the terms of mentality. Like, who do you think, like, I don't want to, like, in the Super Bowl, it doesn't matter who wants it. Everyone wants it. So,
I don't think Mahomes is not going to be not prepared or anything like that.
Like, he
is different than, like, Tyreek Hill.
If you put Tyreek
or Travis
Hill,
Kelce.
If you put Travis Kelce, Just imagine this. They get to the hotel, which they're at like now.
Yeah.
And they're sitting there, and Travis Kelce walks into a room and says to Tyreek Hill, "Want to go party?" He's, "Of course I do." So then they go out.
What do you think my answer's going to be?
Travis Kelce's like, "Bro, let's go get Mahomes." Because, I mean, obviously. And then they go into his room, and Mahomes is like sitting there in a dark room watching film on repeat. And they're like, "Dude, we studied film Travis Kelce's like, "Dude, we studied film last week. Come out and party with us." He's like, "No, you got to be prepared. Come and watch film with us." And Mahomes is like trying to get him to come and watch film. Who wins that battle right there is the question. But I think that's my thing with Mahomes. I think, my point is that I think he's going to be the guy who's anchoring down these people and being like, "No, we want to win this game." It's
I think both quarterbacks are actually going to be fine.
Like, this is the reality that maybe you're right on the Jimmy Garoppolo thing, but it's the reality of you're in the biggest game of your life. You can wait. It's fun. You're at media day. You got all this free time.
Yeah.
It's, you're just doing walkthroughs. You're not actually running like full practices, all of this stuff, and you can have fun. But what I would say to my team is like, save the partying until after you win.
Even if you lose.
Like enjoy the week.
Save it for after.
Enjoy the week, but stay sober. Spend every night preparing for the game and win the biggest game of your life. That should be your focus. The question is, which team does that?
Yeah.
And I don't know the answer to that. Like, Andy Reid will eat cheeseburgers all week.
Oh, gosh.
We were calling him Cheeseburger during the game on Sunday.
As a joke.
As a joke. And post-game, they asked him, "What did you do after this game?" He said, "I ate a cheeseburger." And I was like, "No, stop it, Andy. Don't do what we call you." Oh, I'm going to say the 49ers.
Okay.
Okay. The reason why is I actually sold me on the Jimmy Garoppolo thing that he's seen Brady win twice. Has he won a scene? No, he's seen him been in the Super Bowl twice, not win twice. Oh, was he with the Patriots during Seattle?
Yeah, that was his rookie year.
Holy crap. So, yeah, they have seen him.
Yeah.
He was with him with Atlanta.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's seen him
He
win
got traded
twice.
the year they lost to Philly.
Okay. Yeah. I see why that is.
That's why they lost, because their backup quarterback wasn't there.
So I think that point sold me is that Jimmy G might have that experience where Mahomes has never been in this game before. I don't even think he wasn't in a national championship, right?
No.
Which is
no. His teams actually weren't
close to the hype of this game.
Yeah.
But so I mean, it's just, to me, it's like I feel like maybe Garoppolo looks at that and says, "Okay, this is the way Brady reacted. This is what I need to do for my team. This is the preparation that I need to put in for the game. This is the focus that I need to have." And then goes out and has a good game. Whereas Mahomes, this is his first rodeo. There's so many distractions, whether you want them or not. Even to the point where you get 15 tickets and you got to freaking decide who you're bringing to the Super Bowl, which if you have 15 tickets, my God, I have like, if I was an NFL player, I have like my family.
Yeah.
And it would be like just like 8 people. And then I would have like 7 more tickets to give away.
And then just sell them on eBay.
But you have to figure out what you're going to do with all the tickets that you get for going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And you have to, which doesn't, for a normal human being like us, doesn't seem like an impossible task.
No, but
this is where people come out of the woodwork that you haven't talked to in years, that you were friends in high school with, that go, "You're going to the Super Bowl, Travis. Why don't you help me out? I want to go to the Super Bowl." So it's like you got to deal with all those freaking morons, and it's just
there is a lot. It's weird because you go into it thinking that there's not.
Yeah.
You're gonna just talk to the media and get a lot of free time and then go party.
Yeah.
But there is a lot that goes on
behind the scenes that you don't think about. So I'm just gonna say I'll say that because your point. Who else on that team? The 49ers has been to the Super Bowl.
Richard Sherman.
Oh my gosh, there's the captain of the defense, the captain of the offense.
Yeah, but
49ers are winning the Super Bowl.
Other than that though,
no one. I don't see. My other problem is that
Emmanuel Sanders.
Yes, that's true.
Right, with Denver.
Raheem Mostert is going to be their running back for this game.
Yeah. That's
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
We'll see. We'll see.
Anyway, like I said, usually I can look at teams and go like, it was definitive. Like when the Patriots played the Eagles, even though the Pats lost that game, it was definitive for me. Like New England will win this game.
Kansas City, they've got to have players that's been to the Super Bowl. I don't know.
Kansas City?
Yeah.
No.
Not a single guy on their roster.
I mean, I could pull it up, but I don't really want to.
Yeah, off the top of my head.
Defensively, maybe, but offensively, no.
Yeah. Oh, you might be right. Maybe someone on the offensive line or something, but yeah. No, I don't. I think you're right.
Yeah,
it's Andy Reid. That's
to
it.
me, who has a better defense? This is what.
Yeah, it's San Francisco.
So yeah, I think San Francisco will win. Mahomes might be able to pull this off, and it's been very hard for me.
That's why I said
just
it's
picking
like,
a team.
Yeah,
like doing it as an
factor.
analyst, like it's the Mahomes factor of like. Honestly, who's? I think this game is going to come down to two things: clock management, and who has the ball last.
Yeah,
because I think Jimmy can drive him down to score, and I think Mahomes can too.
Yeah,
but it just matters who has the ball last and who.
It's gonna be. I think it's gonna be a great game to watch for any football fan.
Yeah, I said it to you. I'm like, it's probably gonna end up being like 14-10. And we're all gonna get screwed.
I know, or it's gonna be like a 45-0. It's like
God.
It's like what?
But the 49ers will hoist the Lombardi Trophy. They're number 6 and tie the Steelers and the Pats.
Okay, there you go.
There you go. With locked
You
in.
spent like a half hour talking about it.
Yeah. Well, I'll give you the exact time. 16 minutes.
Oh, well.
So let's move into our part 2 of our consistency series for wide receivers. We're going to go through number 13 to 24 in this section. So we'll start with 13. Jarvis Landry, very bad. 37% of the time. Very inconsistent. 18.75, 18.75.
Was still the number 1 guy, though, because it wasn't Odell.
I know. Yeah.
Baker's favorite target.
Odell didn't even finish as a wide receiver 2.
Yeah.
But anyway, which is like the bust of the year. So I think, to me, for Jarvis Landry, if Odell gets traded, do you like him?
Yeah, I do actually. Well, it's like that. It's like that meme.
I know. It's tough because he was actually very gross.
Yeah, I think he's like, because I think Baker's gonna have a bounce back here, at least a little bit.
I do, but if Odell's there, do you think that'll affect Odell more than?
I think
Jarvis?
it will affect Odell. No. Yeah, no, it probably would affect Odell more than Jarvis.
Like
Landry.
I think Jarvis was just the dump off guy when
but
Baker
like
doesn't that
I feel like that's Baker most of the time.
What, dump off guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're probably right. I don't like him next year, I'll tell you that much. He's not going to finish as a wide receiver 13. I would probably draft him in the 17 to 20 range, Jarvis Landry.
Really?
Yeah, not in like draft picks. I'm talking about wide receivers.
Yeah,
so that's like 7th, 8th round.
I'd say probably. I think he's going to be a middle end wide receiver too.
So
a little higher than you.
The statistic I didn't actually bring up in the last show is fantasy points per target. I like to put it into a little statistic to make it easier. But how many fantasy points does this guy score per target? Now, in half PPR, a good fantasy point per target is around 1.8. So what Jarvis Landry had this year was a 1.4. So he was not very good in terms of fantasy points per target. He didn't turn it into really great fantasy points, but I think at times he was good against good matchups.
Yeah.
And at times he was bad, really bad. And so ending as the wide receiver 13 is not bad. I didn't expect it, but I don't expect a repeat performance next year, to be honest with you. I like Jarvis Landry too, but I don't expect it. Do you have anything else to say on Jarvis?
No, I think you hit the nail on the head with Landry, to be honest.
14, Tyler Lockett, one of the most efficient wide receivers in the NFL. He had 56.25% of the time as a wide receiver 1 and 2. Didn't really finish as a wide receiver 1 all that often, 18%, and then 37% for a wide receiver 2. So he was good at times. Felt like I think early in the season we both thought he might finish as a wide receiver 1.
Early in the season he was. I mean, he was a top 10 guy. At times, I think he was the number 3 wide receiver like halfway through the season.
Yeah.
And then he just fell off the face of the earth.
Yeah. It was the inconsistency and I think the arrival of DK Metcalf a little bit.
It was, yeah. I mean, he also had like 6 straight weeks where he had.
It's just garbage.
Yeah.
Sounds like every wide receiver in the NFL.
I know. It is. It really is.
Yeah. But A.J. Brown is the next guy on our list, number 15. 37% of the time as a wide receiver 1 or 2. 31% of the time wide receiver 2, and then 6% of the time wide receiver 1. So the last two guys have been around 18.75% at wide receiver 1. But A.J. Brown was up there with guys like Julian Edelman, Allen Robinson, and then who's the other guy I was looking at? Julian Edelman, Allen Robinson, and I think it's Devontae Parker.
Yeah, I think it's Parker, yeah.
But anyway, he had 31.25, which was very good, considering that the first half of the season without Ryan Tannehill, he did not perform that well. He had, I think, one wide receiver one performance over the course of the first 8 weeks.
Yep.
And then the rest of them, he had a total of 5 on the whole season. The rest of them he had in the second half.
Right.
So he didn't have a lot of wide receiver 3. He was rookie boomer bust. But this is one of the most promising wide receivers of a year 2 breakout. But I also feel like this is going to be very much
really hyped up.
Very much
next Corey Davis.
Hyped up.
Next Corey Davis. His teammate.
I don't want it to be because he's very good, but here's the thing. They're going to retain Tannehill, most likely.
Yeah.
I would assume. They have to re-sign him, but he's going to get a monster contract.
They might. I mean, I've heard people say they're going to make a run at free agent quarterbacks, too. Ugh. If Tannehill doesn't...
Come on, Tennessee. You have something here. It's not good, but it's better. It's better than Mariota.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. Yeah.
But so I could see A.J. Brown similar to Godwin next year, but I also could see him end up being like a 4th round pick at wide receiver.
See, I see him similar to Evans, where it's like boom or bust.
Oh yeah, no, I'm just talking about in the context of like he could jump into like the top 5 next year.
All right.
Now what I kind of feel A.J. Brown is going to do next year is it's going to be one of two things. He's going to be a complete garbage can, or he's going to be really good. I don't think there's any middle of the road, but I feel like he's going to do what we got nervous about with Godwin.
I'm really scared.
Where Godwin, like comfortable, give me where you're comfortable drafting him, A.J. Brown.
For this upcoming season?
Yes.
Oh, gosh.
See, I would say 5th or 6th round.
I was going to say 6th.
So that's where I'm comfortable drafting.
He's going to get drafted in like the 4th round.
He's going to get drafted in the 4th round, which is where Godwin got drafted.
Yeah.
So his ADP was in that round. This is why I see it very similar between those two players, not in the context of how they play or in the context of their consistency. I'm just talking about A.J. Brown as the offseason goes along. You're going to see OTA clips. You're going to see preseason clips. You're going to see all this stuff happen. And then by the time you get to your, week 3 of the NFL preseason, and where most of your drafts happen, you're going to see that guy sitting on the board in the 4th round, and people are going to take him, and you're going to be like, oh my God, why is it that high? I can't justifiably draft A.J. Brown that high. And I will do this every year with every single player. If there's a Chris Godwin in every draft for the next 10 years, I will always look at the guy who's the breakout, like A.J. Brown, or look at Chris Godwin and go, I can't do it. I cannot do the 4th round, because you have to take calculated risks. You can't just take blind risks where you close your eyes and say, well, he's getting drafted in the 4th round, so let's go. Where you could have drafted Chris Carson and passed up on, you could have drafted
Tyler Boyd and passed up on Chris Godwin.
Right. So I think the situation for me is that I think A.J. Brown is one of the breakouts next year, but if he starts getting drafted in the 4th round, I think it's a buyer beware kind of situation where it's like he could break out, but you're kind of overvaluing him a little bit at this point. He's already in Dynasty. People are giving up like, first round picks and Julio Jones and all that stuff. Like it's stupid stuff. Yeah. And it's like, you're always looking for the next great thing, but what if this guy completely turds himself?
Corey Davis was, like I said, I keep using him, bro. He was the next great thing. And
yeah, but he never had a wide receiver 15 finish, did he?
No, but his rookie year, he was very good. Like, I think his rookie year was his best year.
Yeah.
But he never had Ryan Tannehill. He always had Marcus Mariota.
Well, he does have Ryan Tannehill.
Well, now, but it's too late now.
The number 16 guy, DJ Chark.
Hey, my boy.
26% of the time is wide receiver 1, 20% of the time is wide receiver 2. He did it 46% of the time the rest of the time. Not horribly inconsistent, but getting close to that
Nothing
range.
Crazy, yeah.
I think Chark was good when Mr.
Minshew?
Minshew was playing football, when he was the starting quarterback. But when Nick Foles went in, it was clear that Chark wasn't fully that guy. I think he had one wide receiver one game with Foles in.
Out of like 4.
Yeah, out of 4. So I think Minshew likes to throw it to the outside receivers a lot.
Yes.
He likes to sling it. So I think that helps Chark a lot in the long run. This is another guy, another one of those young wide receivers who's, what is he, year 3?
I think he's going into his 3rd year.
Yeah.
I think this was his 2nd year.
So I think Chark could be another one of those potential breakout guys, but probably a little bit sneakier.
Yes.
A guy that you might be able to get in the 6th and 7th round more realistically instead of A.J. Brown. I would take the risk on Chark over Brown, but I probably will still rank Brown higher than Chark.
Yeah, no, I agree. I absolutely no. I would do the same thing.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, you don't
take him over.
You would rather draft Chark in round 7 than Brown in round 4.
Yeah, so if they were both on the board in 6, I'm taking A.J. Brown.
Right, obviously, yeah.
But they're going to be very close to each other on my draft rankings.
Yes.
So you are the Chark guy. Give me your.
Well, no, I mean, I agree with you. He did play better with Minshew, and I think Minshew's going to be the starter this year, unless something drastically changes. So going into next year, I do like DJ Chark. I don't love him. Like some people are treating him. I've seen some people say like he's a low end wide receiver 1.
They're obsessed.
Yeah, I think 7th round's a good spot for him.
Yeah.
And like you, I'm the same way with you. Where if both Chark and A.J. Brown are available in the 6th round, I'm obviously going to take A.J. Brown.
Yeah.
But if Chark is there in the 7th round, Brown went off the board in the 4th round, I'll take Chark in the 7th round.
Yep, I agree. Robert Woods coming in at number 17. He started off very bad, up and down.
Yeah, had a good finish though.
53% of the time finishes a wide receiver 1 or a wide receiver 2, which is very good. I like Robert Woods quite significantly. I don't think he's ever going to get more targets or be better than Cooper Kupp, but I think he'll always be better than Brandon Cooks.
Yeah, probably.
He's going to be that second guy. To me, I think, to be honest with you, I think he's capped. I don't think he hops into the conversation of a wide receiver 1 ever unless he's by himself. Like if Cooper Kupp went out in the preseason and got hurt, I would really like Robert Woods next year.
Yeah.
No, I'm not
I
wishing.
mean, wasn't he a wide receiver 1 last or 2 years ago now?
Yeah, something like that.
He was
with
a low
Cooper
end,
Kupp.
but yeah.
Yeah, but that was when the Rams offense was very good. So I think where Robert Woods is right now, number 17, I think you're safe drafting him there or leaving him in that range in terms of rankings. He was consistent. He kind of, you know what, he kind of reminds me of Julian Edelman in a way.
A poor man's Edelman.
Yeah, poor man's Edelman, where he's just consistent every single game. Like, look at 53% of the time, he was wide receiver 1 or 2, which is very good. You know what I mean? Like, that's not horrible. That means you can rely on him in good matchups. You know what I mean? You can rely on him in certain situations.
Right.
Yeah, you're not going to get that out of him every game. I had him on my bench for most of the season. And had I started him in that Week 15 matchup where I lost in the playoffs, I would have won. You know what I mean? And obviously, I wouldn't have started him over Julian.
He was like as big of a bust as Brandon Cooks was for the first like 6 weeks.
Yeah, and then
he flipped a switch and it was very good. He was better than Cooper Kupp in the second half of the season.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And then the next guy on our list, I'm curious to see where this guy falls next year. He's number 18 this year, DJ Moore. He played in a total of 15 games, I think.
Yeah.
So he wasn't, and I'll give you the interesting statistic in a second. This is very, very interesting. He was one of the most consistent DJ Moore was one of the most consistent wide receivers in fantasy. Finished number 18, 13% of the time a wide receiver 1. So not what you anticipated. This is why he finished 18. We wanted him to be a wide receiver 1. Obviously, he was not that. He was a wide receiver 2. 46% of the time, he was a wide receiver 2. Basically putting him 60% of the time either a wide receiver 1 or a wide receiver 2. A perfect wide receiver 2 for your team.
Yeah. I think DJ Moore was similar to Juju this year. I think it wasn't really his fault that he finished so low. Like he actually played really, like if you watch the games, he played really well.
Right.
He didn't really have a chance because his quarterback, like the last 2 games of the season when Will Grier was the quarterback, I don't think he did anything. So that's instantly 2 games like out the window where he fell down spots.
Yeah.
But I remember like from week 12 to like week 15 or 16, like those 4 weeks, he had like 15 to 25 points.
So
in all those weeks, it was
what is extremely interesting about this, and I just saw this stat. He had 135 targets.
Oh, wow.
87 receptions, I believe, which is a horrible catch rate. But I'm looking up right now to see if that was actually his fault. Catchable target.
His quarterback was Will Greer, and his other quarterback was.
That's what I'm saying. So his catch rate last year, 64%. Ugh, gross.
Yeah,
don't want that on your team.
No.
Ranked 47 among wide receivers. His true catch rate, 89.1%, which is number 11 among wide receivers. So
there you go.
He is actually, in a lot of these wide receiver metrics, he's actually like top 10, which is rather interesting. But anyway,
he needs a quarterback though, and is that going to get solved?
No.
Are they going to draft somebody? Are they going to run with Greer?
There's also the situation where they keep Cam Newton. It doesn't sound like they are, but they might. We'll have to see what happens with Cam Newton. Obviously, I don't even like Cam Newton.
No, I was going to say, would that be a good thing?
No, I don't know. But like, if he does get targeted 135 to 140 times again next year, like people, this is what you see. Where did you draft DJ Moore?
He's like 6th round, right?
Do you feel like you got burned?
No.
Okay, so
he wasn't what I hoped
didn't
for.
Burn
but
you,
yeah,
but he wasn't what you hoped for.
Right.
He's wide receiver 18, kind of forgotten about. New quarterback.
It really depends on the quarterback.
I think he could be a sleeper.
It really depends on the quarterback.
Okay. I agree with you.
I love DJ Moore.
But
I still do. But yeah,
135 targets. If he does that again and he gets his actual catch rate,
yeah,
you're talking about like 90 catches, 100 catches.
Yeah. He
only caught 4 touchdowns. He had 1,175 yards.
Yeah, that is. I mean, 4 touchdowns. Like if you bring that up to like 8 touchdowns, like he's
that's a difference maker.
Plus 10 to 15 catches.
So I actually like DJ Moore. I don't know if you want to call him. Can you call him a breakout player next year? Can you do that?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. But I'm like, I think he could finish as a wide receiver 1 next year.
Yeah.
That's a early offseason take, but I like DJ Moore a lot.
No, I do too.
The only concern is just that situation.
Who's gonna play quarterback in Carolina?
Right. Cortland Sutton, another person you can put in the AJ Brown, DJ Chark conversation. He is the number 19 guy. He finished 43.75% of the time as wide receiver 1 or wide receiver 2, which is relatively decent. He gave you 18% of the time wide receiver 1 performances, 25% of the time wide receiver 2 performances, and he had a 1.50 target. What is it? Fantasy points per target. So I mean, I'm not a huge fan of Cortland Sutton. I'm not gonna lie. I like him, but I just like Emmanuel Sanders couldn't be a wide receiver 1 in Denver. What makes you think that Cortland Sutton can be that?
Because they didn't have a quarterback with Emmanuel Sanders. Denver.
So you're saying Drew Lock is a quarterback?
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
If you think Drew Lock is, then
see,
yeah.
Okay, so in fantasy football,
do you know? Right? I mean, Cortland Sutton to me is actually wicked talented. Like, remember his one-handed catch in the end zone?
Oh, I don't disagree with you. I'm just saying, Denver has always been a weird situation.
No,
for wide receivers. Here's what I'll say, and this is my problem: is that do you expect him, like Drew Lock, to take this massive leap in year 2?
I don't know. Some people do. I like Drew Lock, but I don't know.
I don't dislike Drew Lock. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't think so.
I think for me, this is the problem with Cortland Sutton, and like we talked about this last year a lot, and we'll talk about it this year, and we'll talk about it next year, and we'll talk about it for the rest of eternity. How awesome! I mean, how you have to have a you have to have certainty that somebody might be good. And I don't know if that makes any sense. Like, if there's uncertainty in a situation, you don't know. Like, obviously, there's uncertainty that can be figured out in an off season, like what quarterback a team has.
Yeah.
But when there's a situation like they know Drew Lock's their guy, they're gonna roll with him. We don't know if Drew Lock is actually going to be good next year or not. So what do you do with Cortland Sutton? Don't take the risk on him. Like, that's a stupid risk. We talk about making calculated risks.
Is it stupid if it's 10th round?
Oh, no. I mean, if it's 10th or 11th round, then yeah, I'll take the risk. Like, it's not. Is it even a risk? It's in the 10th round. No. But
where is he going to go?
What if he gets hyped up and he ends up being a 6th round pick?
Yeah,
then I'm not taking him. Then I'm not wasting my 6th round pick on Cortland.
Do you take him in the 7th?
No.
Okay.
Like I said, I take calculated risks, not blind ones. Let's talk about.
I think Sutton's just.
I think he's good. I just don't like the quarterback.
Okay.
It's not that I don't like Drew Lock. It's just I don't think he's going to take this whoosh step.
Yeah.
Like in a year or two. John Brown comes in at number 20. He had some really good games. I actually considered trading for him. And after seeing this number, I don't like him at all. 26.67% of the time he's a wide receiver.
He's a good real life wide receiver. One of those guys. Good real life.
And then he would give you like maybe 1 or 2 or 3. Like he had 4 playable games probably.
And I think they were all in a row. like
we were like, here we go.
Yeah.
Finally. Yeah, John Brown. Here's what I think is going to happen.
Fantasy-wise
Buffalo's going to add a wide receiver.
They probably will, yeah.
And this draft is stacked with wide receivers.
They'll draft one.
Yeah, they'll
like the second round.
Somebody will end up being their wide receiver 1 over John Brown next year. John Brown will take a back seat and then end up being the wide receiver 15 next year for some reason. Because that's how we get screwed in fantasy.
Yeah.
I don't really like him, and I probably won't draft John Brown very high. I don't think he's going to be a very good wide receiver next year. But anyway, do you have any thoughts on John Brown? Or?
No, I think you kind of hit the nail on the coffin with that. I don't think
nail on the coffin. Ooh, you just nailed the coffin right down.
Not a big John Brown guy.
Yeah. Stefan Diggs comes in at number 21. He has been a wide receiver 1 low end last couple years. This year, he was just god awful in the early half of the season, and then he started to pick it up. But he was just never good enough to be a high-end player. 26% of the time, wide receiver 1, 6% of the time, wide receiver 2, 33% of the time, he was a wide receiver 1 or 2. So here's the big thing with Stefan Diggs for me, though. Guess what his fantasy points per target were?
What was it?
1.92.
That's because when he does
Highly
something,
efficient.
it's like a 60-yard touchdown.
If they target him enough, he could actually do good.
Do you think it's going to change?
No, that's my problem. Now, what I do think is, I think the way they utilized him in the early half of the season affected where he finished. Like, I think he probably could have finished as the wide receiver 15 or 14.
Yeah. No, he would have been a little higher.
Stefan Diggs, still really for where people drafted him in the 4th round, for some reason, I dread this. Is like, do you ever have a player that you draft over and over and over again, even though you don't want to?
Yeah, that was actually, believe it or not, it's Julio Jones, but yeah.
He's like, I have no desire.
Literally the last 2 years, I did not plan on taking Julio, and he was just the best player available, and I was like, all right, Julio, I guess.
This is me with Stefan Diggs the last 3 years. Every single time. 3 years ago, I drafted him out of like, I like him.
Yeah.
2 years ago, I drafted him out of, okay, he's the best guy on the board. This year, I'm like, I'm not. When I literally, first 3 months of the year, first 3 months of this podcast, I did not want it. My goal was to not draft Stefan Diggs this year. It was not, I was like, I had a goal. Then as the offseason went along, I started warming up to him, and I'm like, okay, he's a good 4th round pick, 5th round pick. So I took him.
Yeah.
Started in week 1, pooped his pants, and I was like, this is freaking retarded. Why do I keep doing this? Yeah. Why do I keep doing this to myself? So, Diggs is. I don't even know what I want to say. What I will say is this: I think people are going to sleep on him this year.
Okay.
I think he's going to end up being a lower. Like, he's not going to be a 4th round pick. He'll be like a 6th, 7th round pick. I hope, and that is where I think we can strike. Like, you get a guy who can be a wide receiver 1 in the 6th or 7th round.
I think with Dalian wasn't even healthy like most of the season. He didn't even play much. So is that going to help or hurt Diggs?
I don't know. I think early in the season we noticed that Stefanski wanted to just run it with
Cook.
Yeah, and then as they realized, okay, we got to pass the ball more, they started doing that. But I think they had catered their whole offense toward running the ball so much that they just didn't know what to do after that.
Right.
So that might change a little bit this year, but I think he's worth the risk at a 6th or 7th round pick because we know what he can be. It's kind of like in the past we've seen guys like Todd Gurley's probably going to end up being a 4th or 5th round pick, which I'm fully on board with. Yeah, I will take him there because it's Todd Gurley, and if he gets back to what he does, it's worth the pick. Now, to me, you can only take one of those risks in your draft. I can't go out and draft Gurley and Diggs and go, yo, blow chunks. I'm taking the whole thing this year. And then you have a sucky team because you drafted Gurley and Diggs.
Yeah.
So
big names, but
like I will take one of these guys.
Yeah.
And be okay with it. But I feel like Diggs is one of those guys that's, he's still on the younger side. He's still a very good wide receiver.
Right.
And he's talented enough to be a wide receiver 1. And if you can get him in the 6th or 7th round, the value's great there. I ultimately think he'll end up being like a 4th or 5th round pick again. And guess what?
If there's no way he's going to be a 4th round pick.
I'm going to draft. It's so funny because you can attest to this. I have drafted Stefan Diggs every year and tried to deal him incessantly.
Yeah, I know you have. Yeah.
I successfully did.
You know why?
Twice.
Here's why you don't.
Please, for the love of God, somebody stop me from drafting Stefan Diggs.
Because you take Diggs and then you treat him like a 4th round pick.
He really is, though. He's a 4th round pick every year.
But nobody else in the league views him like that. So there's a reason why we don't take him in the 3rd,
shut
4th.
up. Number 22 on the board is Michael Gallup. 50, wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2 percentage.
Which is really good.
Which is pretty good. Yeah, wide receiver 1 or wide receiver 2. Somebody had him. They used him to beat me, I believe. No, actually, he was out. He was out for that game. He didn't play him.
Yeah.
But anyway, I mean,
I'm not a big Michael Gallup guy.
like
unless like
Dallas?
Yeah.
Maybe? No. I don't want none of that.
Not really. It's to me, he's like,
how fast does he end up on the waiver wire after people waste their draft picks on him?
Like week 2. Yeah, week 2.
I know the team that'll draft him too. Yeah, I don't really like Michael Gallup. I don't think he'll take if Amari Cooper leaves.
Yeah, but I mean,
and they add like another wide receiver, but it's a young guy or like a drafter receiver.
Then it's different, of course. But
I think Michael Gallup.
If all things stay the same,
season.
I think there's just other guys.
Watch the circumstances.
There's going to be other guys that are going to be available in the draft where he's going to get taken.
Right.
That will just be better for your team.
Yeah, and
like
McCarthy is
Chark or a Cortland Sutton.
Mike McCarthy is known. Like he had Adams all those years.
Yeah,
and they fed it.
Yeah. No, yep.
So I don't.
Greg Jennings too when he was.
Yeah, I don't. I do not expect Michael Gallup to be an important part of the Dallas Cowboys offense.
Yeah,
he'll be a guy.
Well, he'll be an important part, but not fantasy.
He'll be a guy that constantly finds his way on a fantasy team at the low end of your roster.
Yeah, gets
or
cut,
if you need a bye week receiver.
Picked up.
So I don't. For me, I'm just not going to draft Gallup.
Yeah.
Number 23, your guy, Tyler Boyd.
Oh.
18% of the time wide receiver 1, 12% of the time wide receiver 2, 31.25% of the time he was wide receiver 1 and 2. Tyler Boyd is somebody that disappointed us thoroughly, but we also did not expect them to
be the worst team in football.
I
honestly
to completely
didn't think the Bengals would be that bad.
The other problem is that they've talked about this. Tyler Boyd is better with AJ Green,
which I assumed he would be back by like week 3.
Yeah. And he didn't play a single game. No. So I don't like Tyler Boyd's another sneaky guy too.
He is. And it's tough because it's one of those personal things because he burned me.
Joe Burrow?
I love the Joe. You know it. Showtime Joe.
Is he going to make him look like that wide receiver in
LSU?
Yeah,
I don't know what
his name is.
I don't know about all that.
I'm not a huge fan of Joe Burrow, but I think he's better than most quarterbacks in the NFL. Including
How is that okay? How are you going to say you're not a huge fan of him and then in the same sentence say he's better than most quarterbacks in the NFL?
Because would you take Joe Burrow over like 15 quarterbacks in the NFL? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I would, yeah.
Yeah.
I think he makes Tyler
You
Boyd.
just think for a first overall pick he's not going to be.
No, yeah, I think he's going to
Which is I think that's a fair.
He's going to Jared Goff it right up. But anyway, Tyler Boyd, I think he'll improve under Joe Burrow, and I think that I think AJ Green, even though he keeps saying he wants to be in Cincinnati, is shipping his way off to New England. And and Tyler Boyd is stuck.
Like another old receiver, exactly what we need.
Aren't you excited? But I do like Tyler Boyd. Like I said, it's going to be an interesting. He's not a bad wide receiver, but he's also not.
Yeah,
he's not special.
No, he's not.
Like I'm going to be honest. When I watch John Ross play, I'm like, that kid's
John Ross is wicked,
very good.
He's just always injured.
Yeah. But Tyler Boyd is good. He's
a good slot receiver.
Yeah. Cute little slot receiver.
Yeah.
Next year, where does he finish? Wide receiver 2, high end.
Yeah, somewhere in wide receiver 2 range.
Yeah, he's like, I don't even want to make a guesstimation.
Yeah.
I'll just stick him between.
I'll say middle.
I'll put it. He's going to be a wide receiver 2 again.
Yeah, like middle to low end. I think wide receiver 2.
I think middle to high.
Okay.
Devontae Adams, it finished at number 24, 66.67% of the time. So he's up there with the best.
Yeah, he actually. Yeah, he's.
Is he the number 3 wide receiver in rankings? Should he be?
See, I don't want to say that because I really want to draft Devontae Adams again. So I don't want to say he's number 3.
Trust me, our league's not listening to our podcast, so speak freely.
Yeah, I'd probably put him number 3. To be honest, right now.
Okay.
Where would you put him?
3.
Yeah.
Or 4. I don't even know who's 4. I mean 3. I don't know. I'm so confused right now as to wide receivers. It is going to take me months.
I'd probably put
my wide receiver rankings.
Looking at this list, I'd probably put him number 3.
Okay.
I really.
Adams was our number 24 guy, so that'll do it for this entire list. I did do Calvin Ridley, but I don't want to talk about him.
He's gonna be a beast.
He's gonna be a monster. He actually could sneak in there and be a very good guy. But anyway, that'll do it for this episode. This is gonna be interesting. We are 3 days from the Super Bowl.
Holy cow!
I'm getting nervous. My team's not even in it, and I'm nervous. No, stop. Don't forget to check out our website, thefantasychampions.com. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff, and talk to you Tuesday.
Wait, I have one more prediction.
But Tuesdays are full. We're going full off season on Tuesday.
I know. It's crazy. You know what's crazier? In 2016 or 17, I'm not good with math. Jimmy G got traded to the 49ers, and I changed my Twitter handle and said Jimmy G for MVP, and that's coming to fruition this week. You heard it here first. Jimmy G, Super Bowl MVP.
Thank you for listening to the Fantasy Champions Podcast. Make sure you subscribe on iTunes and YouTube, and follow us on Twitter @TheFFChamps.